It's an honor to speak with you all and to give God thanks for the blessings of freedom and for the heroes who really have this tremendous courage that you do to defend us.
So, Thanksgiving later, but shopping first.
Always. I'm sorry. I can't help it.
It's worth standing in line for 3 hours. If you get that, if you get what you need.
Fox and Friends first. It is Black Friday, and it's also Friday, so it's good on both sides, and you're going to get some good deals today if you go shopping. I'm Rob Schmidt, in today for Heather Childers, and a happy Thanksgiving to you as well. As Americans wake up from their Thanksgiving holiday, President Trump remaining focused on tax reform. Garrett Tenney joins us live from Washington, D.C. with more on the president's promise to get it passed, and now we await the big Senate vote. Hey, Garrett.
Hey, Rob. The Senate is set to vote on its version of the tax bill next week. So over the next few days, the president will be plenty busy working the phones to make sure he can do everything possible to ensure that this passes. Now, on Thanksgiving, the president did take a bit of a break from working those phones, though, and he and the First Lady visited a Coast Guard station in Riviera, Florida, to deliver lunch to the men and women who were on duty for the holiday. He singled out the Coast Guard and thanked them for their hard work and service responding to the number of hurricanes that have slammed the U.S. this year. Earlier in the day, in his Thanksgiving address, the president also touted the growth of the U.S. economy.
Our country is doing very well. Our stock market has hit a new all-time high. Unemployment is at a 17-year low. We've created $5.5 trillion worth of values. We are doing something very special. People are feeling it.
And while tax reform is the most pressing legislative issue before the president, he also spent some time yesterday looking ahead to the next big goal, tweeting, "Obamacare premiums are going up, just as I have been predicting for 2 years. Obamacare is owned by the Democrats, and it is a disaster, but do not worry. Even though the Dems want to obstruct, we will repeal and replace right after tax cuts." Now, tax reform and health care reform are expected to be two of the issues the president discusses when he meets with Congress's Big Four next week. Rob?
Still waiting on a date for that meeting, and then the Senate vote will come likely after that. Thank you so much, Garrett.
You got it.
The president reaffirming his commitment to our military in his Thanksgiving message. The Washington Examiner's Tom Rogan says it's something that the troops have been waiting to hear for many years now from a commander-in-chief that they can trust.
If you think about the targeting of military personnel in terms of the message that you are unleashed now through me, well, that's something that especially at the junior officer ranks and in the enlisted levels, people believe in the military, because they were very, very frustrated about the rules of engagement they faced under the Obama administration. So, quite frankly, I think that the message will be, at least by the military, pretty well received.
A man accused of killing a Texas state trooper in cold blood on Thanksgiving Day has been captured. Police say DeBrett Black opened fire during a traffic stop right outside of Dallas and was later arrested more than 100 miles away. Trooper Damon Allen dying right there at the scene. He was a husband and a father of 3 working on Thanksgiving Day. He had been with the force since 2002. This is the second death for that department just this month. Black is facing a capital murder charge, which could carry the death penalty there in Texas. Pakistan releasing a terrorist overnight who was wanted here in the U.S. Hafiz Saeed has been designated a terrorist by the DOJ with a $10 million bounty on his head. His release comes after a 3-judge panel dismissed the government's plea to continue with his house arrest in Pakistan. Saeed is believed to have founded the militant group that was behind the deadly 2008 Mumbai, India terrorist attack, which killed nearly 170 people. All right, also overnight, Oscar Pistorius and his prison sentence is now more than doubled. South Africa's Supreme Court of Appeals is increasing his jail term to 13 years and 5 months, upholding an appeal by prosecutors who challenged that his original 6-year sentence for that killing was too lenient. The former Olympian and double amputee, a hero of that nation, was convicted in the shooting of his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp back in 2013. All right, heroes lost at sea. The Navy suspending the search for 3 missing sailors after their plane crashed right off the coast of Japan and the Philippine Sea. Kitty Logan is live in London with a look at your international headlines, that story and more this morning. Hey, Kitty.
Good morning, Rob. Well, since that crash happened 2 days ago, US and Japanese naval ships have been searching for survivors. The transport aircraft was travelling to the USS Ronald Reagan when it crashed around 500 nautical miles southeast of Okinawa in Japan. 8 crew members were rescued. They're said to be in good health, but there has been sadly no sign of those 3 missing sailors, despite 8 ships and 3 helicopter squadrons searching the waters since the accident. The Navy says that crash will be investigated. Also lost at sea, an Argentine submarine, and relatives of those missing received the bad news today from the Argentinian Navy that there was apparently an explosion at around the time and around that location where the sub went missing. Now, contact was lost with that vessel on November 15th, and a multinational search with the help of 2 US aircraft has found no sign of it. 44 crew members were on board, and the search for that submarine does continue.
In the middle of the street. Look at this. Well, the anti-Trump immigration protests quickly being thwarted by police who removed them right out of the parade route right there on Central Park West. Nobody was charged in that crime. This happened as a huge gust of wind slammed the candy cane balloon right into a tree branch. It actually popped that big balloon, and thankfully nobody was hurt as it came down. Those things are huge, as we all know. All right, ready, set, spend. Shoppers lining up early for Black Friday deals, and now the rush is on to get in there first and get some of that cheap stuff. Some braving the cold to get their hands on some pretty incredible holiday bargains, as there are every year. And our Todd Pirro joins us live right outside of Target in North Bergen, New Jersey, a nice neighborhood there. Todd, you got anything on your list? Are you going to be able to jump in there and get anything?
Rob, I am good this year. Everything in the Pirro household right now is designed to buy for little baby Zoe. Baby Zoe at this point does not need a big screen TV, but for the folks that are ready for a big screen TV or who need other tech or clothes or things like that, today is the day. Obviously, it's Black Friday, and stores are opening early all across the nation, including the one behind me here in North Bergen, like you said, the Target. It's going to open up at 6 a.m. in about an hour, 2 hours from now. Now, brick and mortar stores, that is the key this year because they have been under pressure, of course, from the web. They're doing more this year to drive shoppers' foot traffic into their stores. For example, many, of course, open on Thanksgiving Day. Target here and across the nation open at 6 p.m. yesterday, closed at midnight. And, of course, like I said, they will reopen at around 6 a.m. today. Another thing the stores are doing, and this is pretty tricky, offering doorbusters that are only in the stores. So the reason they're doing that, they want to drive you in the store, forcing you to get off your computer, come in here, and maybe while you're here, getting one of those doorbusters, also picking up a lot of other items and increasing their revenue and profits. Let's take a look at some Thanksgiving stats. Thanksgiving Day shoppers expected to grow this year by 18%. Now, the top 3 items, as you might imagine, people are shopping for: clothing, tech, and toys, and 69% of Americans, almost 70% of Americans, are expected to shop during Thanksgiving weekend. That includes Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Museum Store Sunday. I didn't know that was a thing, but I've learned that that's a thing. And, of course, Cyber Monday. Now, we're going to be... we're going to be out here all day long, all morning long, and as you might imagine by the fact that I'm having some trouble with my lips forming words, if you are out here in North Bergen, get ready for it to be cold because it's cold. Back to you, Rob.
It is cold, but that's kind of part of the deal. If you're going to stand outside and get a TV for $10, you're going to have to get a little bit cold. Making a surprise appearance at a Native American un-Thanksgiving event.
Our fight is the same fight. We're all fighting for our justice, for our freedom.
Of a pair of professors from UCLA and Washington State University, they claim a data tracking service showed politically divided families spent an average of 20 to 30 minutes less time around the dinner table last year than previous years. Of course, last year was right after the election. That adds up to a loss of 62 million hours of Thanksgiving family time. So there you have it from Politico itself. All right, let's lighten it up here for a second. Today is Black Friday, but before you join the mad dash to the stores, You need to hear about these tips and some great deals here. Regina Conway is a consumer expert and with slickdeals.net and joins us live now with what you need to know before you begin to shop. This is some of the hottest things that I'm sure that a lot of the kids want. These are the game systems,
They are
right?
kids and adult kids as well. So.
All right, so yeah, what are the best deals if people are waking up this morning at 4 in the morning saying, let's go out and try to find something?
Right. Well, there's a couple things before you even hit the stores. First of all, you need to make your game plan. Okay. Because unlike in previous years, or actually as more and more over the years have happened, stores are opening on Thanksgiving night. Sure. And they started their deals as early as yesterday morning. So some of the items are starting to sell out. But what we have here today, we are still assured are in stores.
Okay.
And in some cases online as well. So you may not even have to brave that cold out there.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is just, tap into technology before you go. The website that I work with, Slick Deals, actually has a community of 10 million users who are all out there scouring the best deals at any given point.
Sure.
And so there's actually a special Black Friday section where that community votes each deal up or down. The Kohl's ad scan alone has 64 pages. There's no way that every item in there is a deal. Right. So make sure that you vet that out.
You got to look for it. Yeah. So, I mean, are electronics the thing that people are really looking for this time of the year?
Still that hot. It's the Black Friday hot item. It's electronics. It's table appliances. But, some of those other site-wide deals happen on Cyber Monday, which is coming up on the heels of Black Friday. Right. But if you really want those deep discounts on the electronics, this is the time to do it. Yeah. So the first thing, those smart home assistants have gotten really hot this year.
Yeah.
The Google Home Mini, there's an offer at Target. It's available for $29. It's normally $49, and then you get a $10 Target gift card on top of that.
Yeah.
If it sells out there for whatever reason, Best Buy, also B&H Photo have it available with respective gift cards to their places. They are $1 more. So, if you're looking for that best discount, that's the one.
I've got the Nest thermostat in my apartment. It's a game changer. I mean, it's amazing. What else do we have here?
So we have the TV because, of course, traditionally Black Friday, those hot TV deals. This one is a 55-inch Sharp from Walmart. It's a 4K TV. It's got built-in apps. You can browse the web, and it's available for $298. Normally a $400 value, but it's got, and what you hear.
Wait. These TVs are only $400 now? They've come down that much?
$300 on Black Friday, so you're saving that money. And it's really, a lot of times you'll hear that maybe the quality of the TVs for Black Friday aren't that great, but there are a couple of standouts.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
Yeah, I didn't know TVs had gotten that cheap. Boy, a couple years ago, there were way more. Okay, we got an Xbox here.
Yes. So, of course, the video gamers always do really well on Black Friday.
Sure.
In past years, it's been those bundle deals. Now we're seeing more kind of stripped down to the consoles. But the Xbox One, if you're looking for that, the Xbox One S at the Microsoft Store is available for $189. You also get a free game that comes with it and a 1-month trial to their Game Pass.
And you said $189 for an Xbox One?
That's Xbox One
cheap too,
and a game on top of it, which can, depending on which game you choose, can actually start to add up as well.
And then we got the PlayStation, the other end. Okay,
for the others who prefer the PlayStation, the hottest deal on this was at Kohl's, but they sold out within minutes.
Really?
So unless they may restock this morning, you can check with your local store, but the online deal sold out within minutes. It is available at GameStop still, we are told. They were open last night as well, so maybe just give a call to your store before you head out. But this is available for $199, and you get a $50 GameStop credit for future purchases. So if you're looking to build up your game supply, that's a really good option for you as well.
Wow, I mean, all this stuff. These are some great deals.
Yeah.
Regina, right?
Yes.
Got it. Regina Conway, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you for coming on, and this is great. Thanks for the tips.
Appreciate it.
All right, 19 minutes after the hour, the largest tech company in the world, and this is what they're promoting. Well, the turkey is almost gone. It's down to leftovers now, and it's actually time to put up the Christmas lights and the decorations, unless you've already done so. And the earlier the better on that, according to a new study that says decorating earlier actually makes you happier. But holiday blues, they are a real thing. So how can you beat it if it's a problem for you? Here now with his tips is board-certified psychiatrist Dr. Dominic Sportelli. Doctor, thank you so much for coming on this morning. We're talking about something that's very real for a lot of people. I've never heard of it actually happening during the holidays so much as after the holidays, but does it actually happen right now and into the holidays?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, according to the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, there is unfortunately an increase in depression, anxiety, and even suicides around the holidays. And the reason for that, we think, is because there are so many expectations around the holidays for people. There's a lot of nostalgia, there's a lot of focus on loss and grief, and there's sort of an idealistic idea that we have about families being perfect around the holidays, and when ours aren't so perfect, we tend to get a little down. So yes, it's an absolutely true phenomenon.
That is very interesting. Let's talk about some of your tips for kind of keeping this from happening for people that have a problem here.
Yeah, you got Got it. So listen, so the holidays are a time of overindulgence, right? And two of those things are alcohol. That's number one. And the other one is too much food, right? Now, studies do show that an increase in alcohol intake over the holidays can lead to depression, anxiety, and mood disorders. So if you're going to have a drink or two, limit it at that, 1 to 2 drinks. The other thing is food. Listen, all the candies and cakes and all the fun stuff that we have at the holidays, the average person increases in weight by about 8 pounds between November and January. So say no to those extra cookies and avoid some of that extra food.
8 pounds. That's nothing to scoff at. That's actually a pretty dramatic weight gain. I didn't know it was that much on average. So you've got don't eat too much, don't drink too much. Very good tips for trying to keep a better outlook on things. And sleep as well.
Sleep. Listen, we overextend ourselves during the holidays. People tend to get extremely stressed out. So I want people to remember, take care of yourself, get some good rest. Don't forget to exercise and stay active. And the other thing, you know, an important thing is, I know the holidays are all about giving, but learn to say no. It's okay to pass on some social events. Not the worst time in the world to take some time for yourself and really take care of yourself. And that's where, you know, the sleep and the exercise and all that kind of comes into play to avoid any emotional breakdown.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess there are some people that the holidays might bring up something sad from the past. You were saying get support when somebody might be mourning someone else that they might have lost during the holidays. That can be a tricky time of the year if you've lost somebody in the last few years, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Listen, the holidays are nostalgic. They bring back memories, both good and bad. Unfortunately, people remember grief and loss around these times, and they can feel extra lonely and upset. Here's the important thing. If you do feel that way, there are so many amazing psychotherapists out there and counselors. Go get yourself some help. Talk to people. Don't isolate yourself. Spend time with friends and family. And you know what? If you don't have friends and family to stay with, volunteer. There are so many opportunities around the holidays to volunteer, and I guarantee not only will it make you feel good about yourself and raise your mood, but you'll help others in an amazing way. So
it sounds like a hassle when you're thinking about it, but doing it actually really does work. I agree with that. Yeah. And what about the Christmas lights and the decorations? You think the earlier the better?
I love this study. I think this is great. And the reason being is the people that like to decorate early tend to be more involved in remembering their childhood positive memories of the holidays. So they tend to be happier because they're remembering that magical time when they were a kid.
That's something else. All right, Dr. Dom, thanks so much for coming on this morning. We appreciate it. Some very good advice this time of the year.
Thanks.
27 minutes after the hour, he was a cult leader and a mass murderer, but apparently somebody thinks Charles Manson deserves a funeral. We're going to talk about that, what to do in this situation. And President Trump set to meet with the top leaders in Congress to hammer out a deal on tax reform. What does he need to do to get Chuck and Nancy his two... All right, tax reform on the line for the Senate. This is a big one, as the big four congressional leaders are set to meet with the president on Tuesday, we think possibly Tuesday, to discuss how to get the support that they need to pass this bill. But can they get it done? That is the million-dollar question. Here now to debate it, managing editor at Olympic Media, Katie Freites, and liberal analyst Kathy Aru. Kathy, I'm going to start with you on this. This really needs to happen for this presidency and for this Congress right now, and for Republicans in 2018. Frankly, do you think it happens?
Well, it has to happen, or as one of the Republicans said, it's the end of the GOP. It'll show that they're ineffective, they're insincere, and they just can't govern if they can't pass this tax reform. And so far, we've seen President Trump giving pep talks and photo ops, but we haven't seen anything come out of it. So if the GOP can't pull this off, then it might be the end of the party. It
might be tricky. Katie, over to you. They haven't scheduled the vote yet. They're trying to get everything perfected, I would imagine, so that there's no question that this thing gets through. There's a couple things that they can still use here and negotiate on. They've talked about maybe getting rid of the individual mandate, messing with Obamacare. They could get rid of that and probably get something like get McCain on board, get Susan Collins on board with that. They need to work on a couple of things here. What could they negotiate with to make sure this gets through?
I mean, they've got to be mindful of Republicans that are in blue states who already have to deal with heavy taxes, that can't afford to alienate their bases with anything in this tax reform plan that could make it worse for them. I would agree with Kathy that GOP has to get this done. You can't control every part of the government and then get nothing major overhauled in your first year. It's going to look absolutely terrible. Right. I don't think that it's going to be the end of the GOP. I think that's a little too far, but it will not look good for them, and it will signal to the base that you give them the power that they've asked for years and years and years, and they just can't get anything through. It's not going to look good at all.
They can't govern.
Yeah.
They can't govern.
Kathy, over to you. Do you think the individual, or I'm not the mandate, I'm sorry, the state and local deduction, do you think that has to go? I mean, they have to keep that in place, have that deduction in place to pass this thing through, because that's where a lot of the noise about this being a middle-class tax increase on the backs of them to fund, the corporate tax rate decrease is coming from.
Right. I know. And we keep hearing that it's going to be better for the middle class, but so many are saying that this is just going to help the corporations and the upper class and the rich. Yeah. So I think to get Democrats on board, which they need Democrats on board to make this happen, they don't have much wiggle room. They need them on board, so they really need to make this something that is effective for the middle class. Yeah. Can't just be for the rich.
Sure.
So
let's pull up. I want to pull up a graphic here that shows the holdouts in the Senate, the people that are undecided, that we're not sure about, and they're going to need at least 4, maybe 5 of these people to get on board. Ron Johnson, Bob Corker, John McCain, Jeff Flake, Susan Collins, and Rand Paul, who has been trouble in a lot of these things the president has tried to do. Over to you, Katie. There is a point to be made here, though. When you talk about bringing jobs back to this country, everybody talks about corporate tax, taking that from 35 down to 20% as being, some kind of evil plan to make the rich richer. But we have to get jobs back into this country. Who is going to bring a company back in here at 35% tax rate when everybody else is taxing at 20%?
No one wants to, and that's why you see so many of these corporations and these companies going overseas, because they're simply more enticing places to do business. America has to step back and look and say, you can't tax people at 35%. They are going to go somewhere else. They're businesses. They have incentives. They have bottom lines. And we need to get that lowered. It's not just for wealthy Americans. You need to get jobs and companies back in America, and that's something everyone should be able to agree with. That should not be controversial.
I understand that. Kathy, your response to that?
Sounds like trickle-down economics that has never worked. Companies don't need more money. They'll just keep it for themselves. It's not going to trickle down. It's not going to go to the worker. So that I don't think giving these tax cuts to these companies is the answer. And many people.
So then they won't come back.
And
John
McCain, Senator Sanders said the same thing about that. But you can't argue that companies have fled this country for lower tax areas, lower tax countries, right?
It's a global economy. They've fled for many reasons. I don't think it's taxes. Many economists don't believe it's taxes.
Okay. All right. We saw both sides this morning. We will see how this goes. Ladies, thanks so much for coming in on Black Friday.
Thanks.
All right. Disturbing new details emerging nearly 2 months after the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. Clark County Sheriff claiming that the Las Vegas gunman fired off more than 1,100 rounds that killed 58 people and injured nearly 500 more. He also says an additional 4,000 unused rounds were found in that suite on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. Imagine what could have happened if all those were fired. More information is expected in the coming weeks. So far, there have been multiple conflicting timelines about the events here, and we just haven't gotten a lot of answers about that Las Vegas massacre. All right, GoFundMe shutting down a fundraiser for notorious mass murderer Charles Manson. The page set up by a friend of Manson's grandson, earning nearly $1,000 for funeral costs. GoFundMe telling TMZ they have refunded everyone who donated. I can't imagine who would, but the same friend now setting up a new fundraising page on PayPal. Manson died earlier this week at the age of 83 from natural causes. Sorry, Chris Christie. A new law may prevent New Jersey governors from shutting down the beaches, the state beaches in Jersey. The proposal would allow state parks and recreation areas to remain open to the public for up to 7 days following a government shutdown. Christie, infamous for his 4th of July stunt that went viral after he was caught on a state-run beach during a budget standoff, a beach that was closed to everybody else. That bill is now waiting for Senate approval. Rand Paul and his wife posting a Thanksgiving video giving an update on the senator's recovery.
Thanks for your concern, your prayers and thoughts, all our get well cards. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I'm starting to get better.
It certainly has been. The senator suffered 6 broken ribs when his longtime neighbor, Rene Boucher, allegedly attacked him from behind in his Kentucky yard as he was mowing the lawn. This after his wife, Kelly, wrote an op-ed denying allegations that Paul and Boucher had an ongoing landscaping feud. So we're still trying to figure out what this was all about. Boucher is charged with a misdemeanor assault. All right, TV's favorite couple might be making a comeback.
La 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 la.
Do you have any lip balm?
Having Chip is like having a whole set of triplets. But you do need a big shower.
I think we overstated that. One of TV's favorite couples. New reports this morning that Chip and Joanna Gaines are working to create a new show. This after announcing last month that their 5th season of Fixer Upper would be their last. Vanity Fair claiming the couple decided to end the show after conflicts with other business ventures. All right, we're going to talk some weather now, and it's really chilly outside here on the East Coast for Black Friday. A lot of people are standing outside waiting in line right now, Adam. What's the temperature out there?
Well, bundle up if you're on the East Coast because those temperatures are in some places down into the teens or 20 range. But as far as moisture goes, the only spot we're paying attention to here early this morning, mostly clear across the country, but just continuing across the Pacific Northwest, we're looking at rounds and rounds of showers. Some of that upper elevations becoming snow, and they've already seen plenty of rain in the last couple of days. Ground soggy. We'll expect anywhere from another 2 to 3 inches as you wrap up the rest of this holiday weekend heading into Sunday eventually. Now, as far as those temperatures go, you mentioned, Rob, still not bad there in the southeast, but if I take you over here to the East Coast, you're looking at spots in the mid-30s with wind chills in the Midwest, 27 degrees in Indianapolis, 24 degrees in Detroit. It is time to bundle up if you're trying to go shopping here early this morning.
Yeah, you finally wear that big coat. All right, Adam, thanks so much. All right, coming up, the largest tech company in the world, and this is what they're promoting.
They didn't know what actually happened on Thanksgiving and that they're actually celebrating the deaths of many people.
Happy Thanksgiving, America.
Oh, the anger and the hatred at America because we celebrate Thanksgiving. We're going to talk about that coming up. And the internet winning the Black Friday battle for shoppers, but some brick and mortar stores still have a few tricks up their sleeves. How you could be getting lured back into the mall because we celebrate Thanksgiving. YouTube releasing this video blasting America as a country of hate and murder. And Twitter did not find this to be very festive, as you might imagine. Carly Shimkus with Fox News Headlines 24/7 here with a lot of fun here on Black Friday. How about this one, huh?
Yeah, some anger over this one after YouTube tweeted out a year-old Teen Vogue video featuring Native American girls talking about what Thanksgiving means to indigenous people. Now, to them, it's a day of remembrance and mourning. Take a listen.
The true story behind Thanksgiving was after every killing of a whole village, these European settlers celebrated it, and they called it Thanksgiving.
So in the end of that video, the girls say they're thankful for their traditions and culture, and they end it by angrily flipping over a Thanksgiving table. Some people on social media saw this as an anti-American political statement, including Ginger, who said liberals spoil everything. Tyler tweets, whoever uploaded this needs to be replaced immediately. And then another Twitter user talks about how they wasted the food by dumping it on the ground when they flipped over the table. So two different viewpoints on a historic event, and these girls clearly are very proud of their culture.
Yeah, well, if you're trying to feed the homeless or the hungry this time of the year, the wasting of the food thing could be found offensive as well.
You're right.
All right, let's talk about Ivanka Trump and her Thanksgiving.
Well, Ivanka Trump, she tweeted out this, or rather, she posted this to Instagram stories. It's a picture of her family, and she wished everybody a happy Thanksgiving. My favorite part of this picture is little Theodore's face. Jared's holding him right there. He looks pretty grumpy about something. But her followers are now wishing the Trumps a happy Thanksgiving, including Karen, who says, happy Thanksgiving to you and your beautiful family. Have an amazing day. So there you go. No controversy in this story whatsoever.
Hey, well, we could find it somewhere if we had to, Carly. Don't worry about that.
You're probably right.
It's not often that I actually laugh